Your name?
Yeah, that's my name.
Um,
Perfect. Farhan,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, pretty well. With a sunny day here in Madrid. It's so early in your country, I think, no?
Yeah, it's 7 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my gosh, you are so a very good walker.
Yeah, it's just part of the job. I actually
Mm,
like the fact that Colingo classes are so early in the morning because it allows me to wake up and manage my day, because if I decided my classes would be, later in the day, I think I would be lazier, much lazier than I am now.
mm,
Like I just
mm,
wouldn't wake up. Now I'm forced to wake up and I'm
mm.
forced to get ready, look somewhat like a human being, brush my teeth, comb my hair a little bit, stuff like that. Um, so yeah, it's good. But besides the weather in or besides the time in Madrid, how's the weather over there looking?
Mm. The time right now is
Noon?
three,
Oh,
3 o'clock,
oh,
15,
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock
Wow,
p.m.
wow.
And the weather is pretty good because in the last week we have been having autumn weather, but right now it's like spring. We have almost 20 degrees Celsius, sunny day, very
Wow.
comfortable. You can walk on the street. You can take a, a cup of coffee on a terrace with friends on the street. Well, it's pretty good.
That's
I enjoy a
awesome.
lot. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. My town right now. I'm actually traveling, so
Mm.
I'm driving from my hometown, which is Wisconsin, Madison. The city of Madison is in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Wisconsin.
exactly. Yeah. So I'm
Yeah,
driving
it is.
from Madison. I'm actually driving from Madison to San Francisco.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
yeah, it's a 2,000 mile journey, but I started 2 days ago, and I am almost there.
2,000 miles.
2,000 miles. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, very
So
interesting, no? But
it's
but but
it's amazing. Yeah.
it's amazing
It's
by the highway 13 or 30. This is a
I
famous. There are a famous rail high speed highway
uh-huh.
from
There
but I
is
don't remember
13
the.
is a good one. Yeah, there are tons of highways, right? So the one I took is actually Interstate 80. Uh, if you look at any pictures of this highway, Interstate 80, 80 starts in New York, goes all the way to
Mhm.
San Francisco. So crosses the entire country right in the
The
middle.
interstate dating, very famous,
Interstate
I
80,
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
It is, it is. It's one of the more famous ones. So I was driving on
Oh,
Interstate 80 for 13 hours last night.
13
Yesterday.
hours. You
Yesterday. I drove 13 hours yesterday, yeah.
be careful. It's very dangerous.
It
Fun.
is, it is. Yesterday I was in the mountains at night,
Oh
and
my gosh.
it was normal actually. It wasn't bad. I was very scared before I started the trip that the I wasn't very scared. I was just
Yeah,
I was
worried.
nervous. I was nervous a little bit that maybe at night the mountains are very difficult, but there's a lot of lights, a lot of other they have, services on the highway like if you need gas, if you need to eat something. So it
Yeah.
was actually very normal. Today, however, I plan to be in California by tonight. So
Actually,
um,
oh my God.
16 hours from now, I plan to be in California. But today it's going to be the
Mm.
desert.
The
So
desert?
yeah, so I passed
Oh,
the mountains yesterday, and today's going to be the desert. So
oh my gosh.
we'll see.
How interesting.
Yeah. Every day
I
is a
I'm
different.
I am envy.
Yeah, I know. I took some amazing videos yesterday when I was driving. So I took videos of
Ah,
of the land that I was passing when it was daylight, and it looks like I don't know how to say this in any other language, but do you know like in Argentina they have Las Pampas, right? Like those that that flat
yeah,
area with a lot of cows, a lot of farms, things like that. So in English we call those areas
yeah.
plains. We say plains. So
Planes,
plains, yeah.
planes.
So the spelling is different
La
from the,
Pampa.
the plane that flies, right? It's a little bit different spelling.
Yeah,
But so yesterday I was
planes.
I
Yeah.
was driving through. I started in the plains yesterday because Madison is really in the plains almost, right? So the first part of my journey was plains, then the middle part is mountains. I'm in the mountains right now. I'm at a hotel in the mountains, right? And then the rest
Oh
of
my God.
today, the rest of today is going to be the desert. So there's three different groups of geography. I go from the plains to the
Yeah.
mountains to the
Very
desert.
interesting. You
Yeah,
are
yeah,
you could enjoy a lot with the landscape, very different landscape.
yeah.
I googling in Google Maps from Madison to where is your
San
final
Francisco,
destination?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I many times I have dreaming about how to do this one of these interesting journeys. But
Uh-huh.
I've been there in New York for 2 times, or also in Cuba or in Peru. I travel a lot with my wife, and but always I've been dreaming about to do one journey across the United States. But I am a little afraid,
Uh-huh.
a bit afraid.
Uh-huh.
But if you when you finish, if you give us some recommendation, I'll
Oh,
try.
absolutely. I would absolutely love to. It would be my pleasure, honestly.
Okay.
Uh, it's been a great experience. The only thing I wish was I had somebody with me. I was driving alone because
Ah.
my yeah, no one lives with me, so I live alone. I was going to see my friends. They all live in California, so
Mm.
uh, driving that many hours alone sometimes gets a little you get tired.
Yeah.
So definitely,
So,
if you and your wife are traveling together, then she can share the burden, right? You guys can both drive, and
okay. Yeah.
makes it a lot easier. So that's an initial recommendation right
Perfect.
off the bat. Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty awesome. Thanks, Raphael, for having such interest in my trip. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah. We also have Lorenzo. How's it going, Lorenzo? Good to see you again.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good, good.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Lorenzo, I forgot if you don't mind me asking. Did you say you were from Brazil?
No, no, I'm from Dominican Republic.
You're from the Dominican Republic. Okay, I'm forgetting all of these students that I see. The faces are similar to me, or things happen and I forget names. But yeah, welcome back. How's it going in the Dominican Republic?
Very hot, as always.
Wow.
The last time I attended your class was on midnight.
Uh-huh.
It was like a month ago.
A month ago. Uh-huh.
Yes, you were teaching at midnight, the the time zone of the America.
Uh-huh.
So now this is the first time at this time.
Yeah, yeah. I actually changed my schedule completely.
Okay,
I teach two classes in the morning and two in the afternoon, so it's a little bit, or
okay,
two in the evening, so it's a little bit different schedule now.
okay,
It's great to
good.
see you, though. Yeah,
Okay, likewise.
yeah. And Juan, always a pleasure. How are you doing?
Hi, hi. I am fine. What about you?
Good, good, good. Just pretty happy. It's been exciting. The last couple of days have been exciting. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Good for you.
I know, I know. So um, let's get started, guys. We're about 12 minutes into class. So today, guys, thanks for coming. We're going to be discussing two different topics today. So the first one that we're going to be talking about is modals of deduction, right? When we have modals of deduction in English, right? What do we mean by that? Really, it boils down to possibility, right? So I'm just going to write this down very quickly here. Modals of deduction relate to how possible something is, right? How likely something is. So we will take a look at the three words that we use very frequently to talk about modals, to talk about possibility, actually. So these are the three modals of deduction, right? Then in the second part of our class today, because it's a travel-themed class, we are actually going to be talking about a shift in um, the international markets in terms of the different nationalities that are traveling for business, right? For many years, the United States was the top spending country when it comes to business travel. More Americans traveled and spent more money internationally or taken together, if you divided all the countries by how much money they spend on business travel, right? The United States was always number one. But as with a lot of things that are changing now in this world of globalization, China is catching up, right? China is catching up with everything. We are very scared of China, guys. Okay, no disclaimer here. America is very scared of China, right? So China is now actually in the position to overtake the United States as the most business spending country in the world, right? So it'll be interesting to see. Usually Americans have this kind of pride that, oh, we have the most everything, whatever, right? But I think it's time for us to be more realistic, right? Especially with China becoming such a big power. So we'll take a look at that, guys. To get started, to focus on our conversation later on, I wanted to begin by asking you guys a question that will relate to modals of deduction, right? So modals of deduction, it's all about possibilities, right? How likely is something to happen, right? Is it something that will happen? Is it something that maybe will happen? Or is it something that could happen, right? So we'll take a look at these three. So my question for you guys is, how likely is it that you need to travel for business in the near future, right? For me, I don't have to travel there's zero possibility. I'm not going to be traveling for business. Right now it's just for vacation, right? But how likely is it for you guys to be traveling for business in the next, I don't know, 1 month, let's say? Let's start with Rafael, actually, if you don't mind, Rafael.
I've been having for business for a long time. I've been visiting many countries, but right now I don't do it anymore because in the last 10 years I was hired by a company, international company that have a lot of business around the world, in the United States, also in Mexico or in other countries, and I've been traveling for this company many times, also in Europe. But right now, I don't need to travel but for business anymore because I have my office by my own, and I don't need to travel for business. I only travel with my wife, sometimes every year if I can, only for pleasure or for enjoy or for vacation. That's my point.
Absolutely, right, absolutely. So great answer, Rafael, right? We're talking about possibilities and likelihood, and right now it's not possible for you, right? Or it's not something that is on your radar. We say this phrase a lot in English, on your radar, right? Or on somebody's radar means that it's not in their plan, it's not in their understanding of what they need to get done. It's not a part of their life, really, or it's not something that they're focusing on. So traveling for business is not really on your radar, right? But let me ask you this now: could you travel for pleasure in the next month?
Yes, I could travel for pleasure in the next month here in my country.
That's awesome, right? We're going to actually specifically look at the word could. When we use could, we're going to look at the specific meaning behind that. So that's a great answer. Lorenzo, so you said that it's not part of your plan, right?
That's what you mean. It's not on my radar.
Yeah, exactly. If you say something is not on your radar, then it's not part of your plan. Yeah, you're not thinking about it. It's not something you're focusing on, right? So, could you travel for business in the next month, Lorenzo? Is that something on your radar?
No. Maybe not. Maybe next year I will be thinking to travel abroad. Maybe to talk about on a startup business.
Wow.
Yes, because I was trying to look for investment,
Yeah. Seed money, right? Seed money.
Yes. And a major company, I think is the name of the company who invests in a very good idea, I was thinking about start a business on my career in technology. In fact, tomorrow I will be attending to a startup a conference here in my country.
That's awesome.
Yes, next month I will be traveling from vacation,
Uh-huh.
but at the same time, I will take advantage of to get together with some friends in order to see if we can start up a business.
Wow,
That's my
that's
plan.
super
Yeah.
exciting, Lorenzo, right? I mean, especially for technology, right now is the best time. There was never a better time to join or begin startups or join startups, right? I mean,
Yeah.
just as an example, Colingo is a startup, so I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, I know.
what we are doing, all these people with different visions and different ideas, yeah, it's awesome. So great, Lorenzo, fantastic answer as well, right?
Okay, thank
So
you.
yeah, Juan, what about you? What is your could you travel next month for business?
No, I don't think so. Uh, Not for business, not even for vacation.
Uh-huh.
I have no plans going any place this year.
Uh-huh. It's not until maybe after New Year's and Christmas and all of that stuff. Maybe next year, February or March, maybe you'll go somewhere.
Yeah, maybe.
Nice, nice. See, so and part of my process in asking you guys these questions was trying to look at these words, right? So could, right? May, right? May, maybe not really, but may we use as a modal of deduction, right? So these are the words that we're going to focus on, guys, right? There are 4 words in 3 categories that relate to modals of deduction, right? The first one is must, right? Must. And must is when you are like obligated to do something, right? Must is, we use must in English when it's 95% to 100% chance that something will happen, right? So if I say, for example, the example we use many times in introducing this topic is, let's say you see something, you don't know anything about it, right? You see a window that's broken in a building, right? If you are 95 to 100% sure that it was somebody who broke it, maybe to steal something, maybe it was a robber, you can say it must be a robbery, right? It must be a robbery, or it must have been a robbery, right? Uh, because you're so confident in that idea, right? So must is really used for extremely high confidence situations. If you're not like 95 to 100% sure, if you're like in the 50% range, you're not sure yes or no, whatever might have happened, right? That's when we use either the word may or the word might, right? So may and might are when we are maybe 50% sure how, if something happened or not, right? So let's say you see a really nice car on the street, right? Like latest model sports car or something, right? You can say to yourself, it might be very expensive to buy that car. You don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe you do. Maybe you saw the price yesterday and it's extremely expensive. Then you can say it must be an expensive car, right? But if you're not sure, then you can use may or might, right? It may be an expensive car. It might be an expensive car, right? Last but not least, the third and final category is could, right? So could we use when we're really like not very sure at all, right? 25% chance that something could be the case, right? So let's say you see that house, you see a house that used to be a house, a building just burned down, right? Completely burned down. You could say it could have been an accident, right? It could have been an accident. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe it wasn't. You have no idea. You have very little idea. You're just guessing almost, right? It could have been an accident. So those are the 3 words. I'm using those examples specifically because we have those number designations. Must is 95 to 100. May or might is about half, 50%. And could is 25% or less, right? So very, very low chance of something. If you know what it might be, then we would use could, right? And so how do we use these sentences, right? How do we make these words into sentences? There are a few ways to do that, right? Before I get into that, I wanted to ask you guys if you guys had any questions about must, could, and must, may, might, or could.
It's clear.
It's clear, makes sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
Awesome. Raphael, does it all make sense?
Yes.
Makes sense, okay. Fantastic, guys. So really, looking at possibilities, right? Looking at scenarios in which we have varying degrees of possibility, right? Varying degrees of likelihood of something having happened, right? So let's say, I'll start with this example. Juan, let's say you are working, right? You're busy, you don't have your phone or anything near you, and somebody calls you 3 times. So when you open before you look who it was, you see on your phone it says 3 missed calls, right? If somebody calls you that many times in one day, what will you think? What can you say about who called you?
It must be urgent to
It
attend.
must be, yeah, fantastic. It must be urgent to attend, right? And who could call you like that? Maybe somebody in your family, right? Who could be calling you like that? Could it be your son?
Might
Could it
be
be?
a client.
Might be a client. Yeah, it must be urgent. It might be a client, right? So it could be somebody who needs to talk to you very urgently, or it must be someone who wants to talk to you very urgently. 3 missed calls, right? And it might be a client, right? 50%. Might not be a client. Could be somebody else, right? Great, great, fantastic, right? Lorenzo, I'll give you a different situation, right?
Okay.
Let's say that you are let's go back to the good old days of high school and college, right? Okay,
Okay.
we're gonna take a step back. Let's say
Okay.
that you really like this girl, right? So you're thinking about this girl all the time, right? And then one day you go to your locker, let's say it's high school or something. You go to your locker and you find a note, right?
Hmm.
You
Okay.
haven't said anything to anybody, but you find this note and you open it and it looks like a girl wrote it, you know?
Okay.
What
Okay.
what would you say in your mind? What would you be thinking?
Okay. Uh, this note maybe could be wrote by the girl that I love.
Yeah, exactly right. This note. So you said maybe could have been written, right? So
Okay.
it seems like you're almost switching between the may and the could, right? You're between the
Okay.
25 and the 50%, right? Which is okay.
Okay.
We do speak like that sometimes. Sometimes even in normal conversation, we use more than one modal. So
Okay.
this note maybe could have
May.
been,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
by the girl that I like, or maybe if you're really that crazy for her that you love already. That's, I mean,
I like. I
that's.
like.
I was gonna say, yeah. If
Yeah.
you haven't talked to her yet, I don't know if you can love her yet, right? But
Okay.
this
Okay.
note maybe could have been written by the girl that I like. In many conversational scenarios, we use maybe could have been. But to keep it simple, you could just use one of those as well, right?
Okay.
This note may have been written. This note could have been written, right? Depending on
Okay.
how sure you are about that.
So it's
Yeah.
correct to use two models or two or one.
It's correct to use two, but it gets complicated, so we have to be careful about it, right? I think
Okay.
initially we should master using one, right? And then,
Okay.
but even using, so I would say out of the combinations that are possible, maybe and could are many times put together. Maybe could have been possible. Maybe could have been written. Maybe could have been done, right? Like maybe a disaster happens and people say, prevention, we could have maybe prevented this. We maybe could have prevented this, right? So sometimes we use maybe and could together like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, great
Great.
question. Yeah, great question. Juan, she must be stalking him. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
The girl is following you, Lorenzo. You gotta watch out, right? This girl is sending you notes and stuff. Yeah. So awesome, awesome. So Rafael, last but not least, let me give you a different scenario. Let's say hopefully this never happens, right? But let's say you are in a shopping mall, right? Your car is parked outside, right? Whatever, and you shop for a few hours. You come back to your car, and you see that somebody keyed your car, right? You know what that means, guys? This is maybe a very English, very American phrase. Somebody keys your car, right? The verb keys, like,
Uh,
do you know
to
what that
start
means?
up, to start
No,
the engine, or
no.
to scratch the paint.
Yes, right.
Okay, in bad way.
Yeah, you take the car key and you just scratch the paint off your car, right?
Wow.
I mean, it could destroy your mood, right? If somebody does
Yeah.
my car, I would probably kill him, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm just joking, guys. Don't call the police. Don't call the police.
No,
But
no.
I'm just saying, like, it's so. So, what would you do then, Raphael? What would be your mind? What would be your mindset after you see that? Would you use a sentence with must, may, could? What would you think in your mind about the possibility?
It could be a son of a bitch. That
Oh my God!
Don't record it.
Already recording, Raphael. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It could be.
Exactly, right? Exactly. Okay, great. What a good way to start the morning, right? Fantastic. Yeah. It could be an SOB, right? So in English we use SOB sometimes, right? It could be an SOB.
To
Yeah.
avoid to avoid to say the whole sentence.
Yeah, exactly. It could be an
SOB.
right? Yeah, exactly, right? So, yeah, fantastic. But I like how you use such a strong statement, but you use could, right? If it was, I think if it was Juan would say it must be an SOB, you know, because Juan wrote it must be a jealous guy, right? So, yeah, 95% chance, sure, you know, if you're that sure, maybe you have a super nice car. Maybe your car is attractive and people look at it all the time, right? Somebody's jealous, right? Or it could be a guy who just hates you, you know, for some reason, and decides to key your car, right? Yeah. My car was keyed by me. Like, I keyed it by mistake when I was trying to open the door. So I keyed it a little bit. I was so mad at myself. It was a bad situation. It's like just a little bit scratched, right? But now the paint is like gone, you know, the paint doesn't come back.
Or
So,
could be a confusion. I mean, the man confused the card that he wants to scratch.
yeah, maybe, right?
Maybe,
It could.
could be.
Yeah.
It had happened here that the same car, I mean, the same color, the same car, the same motor, and sometimes a man that want to make a damage to someone can confuse the car. You know?
Wow. That's very sad situation though, right? I mean, if I was the victim, I would probably still kill him, right? It doesn't matter. You made a mistake. Made a mistake. So it must be a blind guy, right? Okay, interesting. Yeah, maybe Juan, right? Somebody scratches your car, so they have the ability to come to your car and scratch it, but maybe they're blind, or they must be blind, right? It's possible. It's possible. Sometimes people are like that, right? We don't notice very basic things. Must be a blind guy. Yeah. So I like you guys. How you guys are using like humor, right, when it comes to some of these sentences, because we need to. We need to laugh about possibilities sometimes, right? So that's awesome. Let's take a quick look, guys, at the construction. So you guys did the construction very well. You guys did the construction extremely well, but I'll show the three types that we use, right? So the first construction that we use when we were talking about these modals is we can use the subject plus the modal, then the verb to be, then the word be, and then a noun, right? It must be expensive, right? You look at a car, and you're just thinking about it in the present tense, right? Looking at a very expensive car. Maybe the jealous guy who keyed your car at the beginning says, it must be expensive, right? Or it must be an expensive car. So that's the first type of example, when we use subject plus a modal, and then be, and then a noun, right? It must be the brother of my girlfriend. Yeah, absolutely, right? Juan, that's a high possibility, especially if you're messing around with a girl, right? The brother might kill you. Who knows? People are crazy. You know? Brothers are very jealous of their sisters. So
it must be. Excuse me. It must be, or he must be the brother of my girlfriend. He.
you can use both. You can use both. Yeah. So if it's actually better to use it, you know,
Okay.
Lorenzo, because when we use he, you're already saying that it's a male almost. You're already making that assumption that it was the person was a male who did this, right?
More
He
than 100%.
But or you use he if you are see if you are looking at him.
Yeah. Maybe you see from far away or something like that, right? But
Okay.
if you're not sure, it's actually generally better to actually use it for these types of examples.
Okay.
Generally,
Okay.
it's a little bit better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
For example, if you see who do it, it's not a deduction. You is a fact.
that is true, right? Then you wouldn't really use must. You would say it is the brother of my girlfriend, right? If you see it happening, then, or I'm sorry, you would say he is the brother of my girlfriend, or it was done by the brother of my girlfriend, right? In that case, which is good, because if you see it, then there's no deduction. Yeah, you guys are right. So it works, Lauren, or I mean, he works, Lawrence, but it's a little bit better
Okay.
for these phrases, yeah. So that's the first type of construction, right? It, or the subject, modal, be, and then a noun, right? The second type is if we have an opinion, right? Sometimes we make opinions about people, right? Like, sometimes somebody tells you that they work for the government, right? In the United States, that's not a very prestigious thing because the government, we don't really like the government. They always make mistakes, right? So if somebody tells you I work for the government, you can say, wow, that must be boring, right? So it's a subject, could be anything, right? He, they, Tom in this example, or that, right? You can even, when you're talking about something, wow, that must be so boring, right? Or people they're listening to somebody who did an amazing journey or did something really, really cool. That must be interesting. That must be so cool, right? You can use your opinion in these sentences as well, right? Opinions with the modal of deduction, right? And then, last but not least, right, when we are talking about past events, and this is the one that we actually used a lot in this class, right? When we're talking about past events, we use the subject plus a modal. So all of these start with subject and a modal, right? But then we have the word have, then we have the past participle. So like what we were saying a little while ago, it must have been a jealous person, maybe, right? Somebody who keyed your car must have been a jealous person, right? Teaching must be a challenging job, right?
Challenging.
Challenging job, yeah, because it's going to be an adjective, right? So teaching must be a challenging job. That would be an example of the first construction, right, Juan? Because it's just
Okay.
modal and be and then a noun, right? So must be something, right? The other examples would be, oh, actually, I'm sorry, that's an example of the second type because it's an opinion. Yeah, teaching must be a challenging job, or yeah, challenging job. So these are the three main constructions, guys, right? Yeah, fantastic, Lorenzo, great job. Those are the three main examples. Do you guys have any questions about how we make these sentences in the modal then, now that we have the formula?
No, I think it's clear.
Make sense? Okay. Lorenzo and Rafael, you guys are okay with this too?
The
Yeah,
two what?
crystal clear.
Excuse me?
No, are you okay, Lorenzo, with the three
Okay.
types,
Yes.
the three
Yes. I
formulas?
understand.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Great. So let me then ask you guys to make some sentences for me, right? So any of these three types of constructions that we have, modal plus be plus noun, modal plus be plus opinion, or the more challenging one, and I want you guys to focus on the challenging one, modal plus have plus past participle. Must have been, might have uh, been created. Been is used a lot. That past participle been is really used a lot, right? Might have been somebody, could be somebody, right? Could have been somebody. So let's work on some sentences, guys. I gave you guys an idea of the types of scenarios, right? Somebody keys your car, a girl likes you, right? And Juan, I think your example was, I forgot what I told you, but you guys have those scenarios, right? So let's come up with a sentence. Rafael, do you want to get started if you don't mind?
With another sentence?
Another sentence, yeah. Using any of these three constructions,
Yeah.
I would like to see the last construction if you want.
First of all, excuse me for my French.
Uh-huh.
Yesterday I saw a guy that looks like a very old friend of mine. I think it could be him.
Fantastic. I think it could be him. Yeah, fantastic. You see somebody, a look-alike, you know, you're not 100% sure, maybe, maybe not, right? Even less than maybe, right? 25% chance. It could be my friend, right? Great job. Great job.
Hmm.
It could have been him. It could have been my friend. It could be my friend, right? Absolutely. Depending on present tense, past tense, whenever you want to say it, right?
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I like that. You gave me the scenario at the beginning also. Lorenzo, just like we heard from Rafael, another type of sentence.
Okay, I will try with the last one.
Uh-huh.
Um, Philippine people, they they must has been suffering too much with the typhoon.
Yeah, Typhoon Haiyan, right? So
Okay, yeah.
so Filipino
Filipino
people, Filipino people,
Filipino people most has been suffering with the typhoon.
yeah. But notice one thing, Lorenzo, you're saying has, I think, right? Do we say has or do we use another word?
Uh, I mean, must have been
Yeah, it's
must have
have.
been
Uh-huh.
okay. Must have been suffering with the strong wind of the typhoon.
Absolutely. Perfect, perfect. Filipino
Okay.
people must have been suffering as a result of the high winds or because of the
Okay.
damage of the typhoon, because of the typhoon. Right. You
Okay,
could even say
because
that.
of the typhoon. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Fantastic. Great job. Juan, another example from you. You do write a very good example here, but let's see if you can share another one with us.
Okay, let me try.
Sure.
Talking about the Philippine people, they must
Uh-huh.
have been uh, refugee.
Uh-huh. Refugee. Uh-huh.
Yeah, they must have been looking for refuge.
Ah, yes, perfect. They must have been looking for refuge. Yeah, that is great because a refugee is a person, right? So if you're
Mm,
talking about the future, you can say the Filipino people might be refugees, right? The
Mm.
people who lost their homes, they might be refugees. But when we use the could or the modal plus have construction, then we're talking about the past. So the Filipino people might have been looking for refuge, right? Because now their homes are destroyed. Who knows, right? They're trying to find refuge, a safe place. Refuge is a safe place, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
mhm.
fantastic, guys. You guys did an amazing job on those exercises. Any last questions, guys, about modals of deduction? We're going to jump into our article in a little bit.
Mm. No, I think it's
Mm.
We're good. We're clear.
good.
Thumbs up. Okay, ready to go, guys. Okay, sweet.
Thank you.
So, yeah, no problems. Let's take a look then at this article about travel and business between America and China. I think Americans are getting jealous of China, honestly. Not gonna lie. We might key their car, right, Rafael?
A lot
It's
of cars.
a lot of
A lot
cars,
of Chinese buy
right?
United
Exactly.
States to kiss your cars.
A billion person population, right? More than a billion people. So, yeah, very, very powerful country. So, let's look at this article, guys. I'm also going to screen share so we can all share it. And let's see, where's mine? Okay. So, this article is from the LA Times, right? Los Angeles Times. China poised to surpass the U.S. on business travel spending by 2016, right? What does it mean when we say poised, guys?
Mm, maybe to be prepared.
Yeah, exactly. China is prepared to surpass. China is in the position to surpass. What does surpass mean?
Over.
To get over.
Yeah, to exceed or to pass, right? To go over, right? To go over, exactly. So China is in the position to go over, defeat the U.S. or have more than the U.S. on business travel spending by 2016. So business travel spending from China is expected to jump just 14% is huge, not just, to jump 14% just this year and 17% next year, right? Crazy, crazy growth, right? This is China's main airport in Beijing. And this airport is actually expected next year to surpass Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, which is in the U.S., as the world's busiest. So for about 10 years, Hartsfield Airport in Atlanta has been the world's busiest. Next year, it's going to be a Chinese airport, right? So who knows what's going to happen, right? For years, Americans have led the world in business travel spending. That is about to change. With China's economy surging. What does surging mean, guys? Surging.
Emerge.
Not emerge, actually, guys. Surge is actually after something emerges. Surging is something that happens a little bit later, or could happen later. Surge is when something grows like crazy.
It's in process.
Yeah, it's in process, and it's when we say something is really growing by a lot. It's really growing a huge amount. So sometimes we use water when we say surge. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Explosion.
Yeah.
Explosion.
Almost like an explosion of growth. Yeah, surge in growth, right? So much growth is happening right now. So with China's economy surging, right, business travel spending from the world's most populous country is expected to jump 14% in 2013 and 17% next year, according to the Global Business Travel Association. China is expected to surpass the U.S. as the world's largest business travel market by 2016. 3 years, guys. We got 3 years to key all those cars, right? I mean, it's by 2016, China is going to surpass, right? About 95% of that business travel, so that means the Chinese business travel, right, will stay in Asia, with trips, for example, to South Korea, Singapore, Hong Kong. These are the 3 biggest destinations for Chinese businessmen, right?
That's meant that they were not include America.
Doesn't seem like it, right? Doesn't seem like it. Just that 5%, 95% is into just these 3 locations, right? The remaining 5% are to the rest of the world. So this group also estimates that the United States will be number 8 on the list of destinations for Chinese business travelers. So 7 other countries actually are ahead of America, right? And with the growth in travel from China, Beijing Capital International Airport is expected next year to surpass Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport as the world's busiest, right? So we're going to skip this because it doesn't matter. The demand for air travel from China is expected to grow so fast in the next few years that several of China's airports have had to double or triple their capacity, right? And the nation plans to build about 100 new airports over the next decade. That's ridiculous. They're going to build 100 new airports over the next 10 years.
They have another option.
The
high-speed train.
Yeah.
They're planning to build the construction of a new line of train, high-speed train.
Yeah.
As an option.
Exactly. That would be a great option, I think, right? It would save money. I think it'd be very efficient. Obama actually wants to do a high-speed train in the U.S. So
it's not worth it.
Yeah, who knows though? I mean, because people drive here. People are crazy about driving. Trains are not that popular. But maybe they will be if they make one.
That's the reason.
Yeah, I think we just drive like crazy. And then let's see, what is this stuff? Okay, so that was it actually, guys. Just this first part was the article. This other stuff is like I don't know why they put it in the same article, but so then the last thing really to maybe focus on is this thing that they're saying. The real question is, can they keep up with the demand, right? When we see China is always in a situation where, I mean, people are people and people are growing and the country is surging, economy, right? Can they keep up with this demand, guys? What do you guys think? Is this a possibility? It must be important for China to keep up with demand. It could be that, let's see, I'm trying to use the phrases we learned, right? It could be impossible for them to keep up with this demand, right? So I'm using one of those opinions, right? It might be impossible for them to keep up with demand, right? What do you guys think? So let's start with Ken. Welcome, man. I didn't see you, Ken.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're using these modals of deduction, right? So must, might, could. What do you think about this? Is this what's the likelihood of something like this?
But China, yeah, maybe every country's economy boom has gone. I think keep up this level of kind of charging is, I think it's almost impossible.
Yeah, especially 10 new airports a year. I mean, they need the space, they need the land, they need to organize all those things, right? I mean, 10 airports a year means one every, what, 1.2 months? You know? Every 1.2 months they make a new airport. I mean, God knows how they're doing this, right? Enormous amount of growth. What about, Juan, what do you think? How possible is this?
Well, I think China must take the challenge and try to grow out now that economy is getting high, so he must be prepared.
Mm-hmm. They must be prepared, right? They must be ready for these challenges, right?
Yeah.
Do you think they'll succeed?
Yeah, of course. Why not?
Okay. Maybe what if the U.S. does some sabotage? Right?
With a bomb.
No, nothing violent. Maybe maybe we start giving pressure to these airline companies to introduce taxes for Chinese passengers, things like that. I mean, all the political stuff. I'm just joking around, but if sometimes when it's a question of money, people get very jealous, right? And I mean, for 10 years, the shift. I mean, people. I have been to the busiest airport in the world. They focus so much on that. We are Atlanta. We are the busiest. We are the best. Look at all of our accomplishments, right? If we go to another country, it's kind of jealous, right? It's a question of jealousy. So
yeah. Heathrow is another busy airport in England.
It is, yeah. Heathrow is the world's busiest international airport still. Yeah, but Atlanta is the world's busiest because it has so many internal flights in the U.S. also. So, Lorenzo, what's your take on this?
I believe China have the geographic possibility, economical possibility also. But I think it could be difficult for them to do it so fast, to reach that goal in this amount of time. It could be difficult.
Could be difficult, yeah. I mean, did you guys hear how China is the world's largest purchaser of concrete, right? Like half of the concrete that is made in the world goes to China. So their highway system is phenomenal. I mean, kind of like the U.S. They made 15 years ago. They didn't have interstate highways that were very reliable, linking one part of the country to another part. Now they have these huge highways. You can go from one part of the country to another very quickly. So 10 years may not be that long. I mean, we're only talking airports. Well, I mean, that's what it seems like. Yeah.
But they also are the number one buying copper, metal, plastic, and all of that, all kind of material that they need to build anything,
Yeah, to become this industrial power, right? They are already an industrial power, but they're buying all of this stuff, right? Construction there is crazy. Yeah. And Rafael, what do you think? Could this be impossible? Might it be impossible?
15 years ago, when China began to be one of the most interesting and emerging countries developing new kind of capitalism inside them, nobody's thought that China in the next 15 years could arise this incredible, powerful economic power. And I think due to this circumstance, due to the development of China in the last 10 years also, it could be very possible, I think, because they are developing new strategies, they are invading Europe. There are a lot of Chinese people with a lot of business. Every business that we can find here that is new is from a Chinese guy. And also, excuse me for my French, but you, in the next couple of years, your cars in in United States could be kissed by China's people because there are a lot of them in your country too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Chinese people historically in the United States, like we welcome everybody from all nationalities, and Chinese Americans have actually made an enormous contribution to the United States, right? People actually forget that the people who built the railroads, right? So, for example, when they built the railroad from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean, the transcontinental railroad, right? A lot of the workers were actually Chinese immigrants. So these Chinese people, as early as 1830, 1840, they were coming to the U.S. They were treated like a second class. You know, they were treated very poorly. They did a lot of amazing things, and now, you know, their descendants, of course, have been living in the United States, you know, Chinese Americans, for 3 or 4 generations now. They've done a lot, but I think that in the modern 20th century, post-Cold War, you know, China versus America, democracy versus communism kind of debate, right? China has taken, China's image has been destroyed a little bit by that, but in the last 15 years, I think definitely, now that they are such a large market, and really they're no longer communist in terms of economy, they're pretty capitalist, right? I mean, they have a very capitalist mentality. So things are changing now, I think, but national jealousy will not go away. I think America is also, China's military is getting more and more advanced every year, and, you know, not at the same level as the U.S., which is what the U.S. says, right? But they're catching up, right? I think they're catching up in everything. Yeah.
Let me tell you that the U.S. Immigration Department, in their statistic, they say that they prefer people from China and other place of Asia, like India, I don't know. They prefer those people instead of the others, you know, the rest of the people, in order to do business, in order to start up a new business or to work. They are well prepared. Chinese is all over the world right now. Here in my country, you can see it in everywhere. No, they are spreading in the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Their business strategy, you know, I think so. Rafael was saying this, right? The business strategy is amazing. They are going to developing markets. They're going to India. They're going to Africa.
Yes.
Investment in Africa has been crazy. Like, the United States has been worried, actually, because they see China moving into some of these developing markets. Before, it was always the U.S. that was doing that work.
Yes. Let me tell you that the building, the new building where the Twin Tower were,
Mm-hmm.
the new one, the half of the building belonged to the Chinese company.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me, though. It is surprising. I didn't know it was as high as half, but at the same time, it doesn't surprise me. Because they are very industrious, right? They're making a lot of progress. I think compared to India, my parents are from, you know, Bangladesh, India essentially, right? Same culture. India is not in the same position. India has a lot of problems with poverty and with, I don't know. It's being a democracy is sometimes a disadvantage, right?
Yeah.
Because you need to listen to the people. China can just do whatever they want, right? If I can take your house, if I want to build an airport, I'll just take your house, whatever, right?
Oh, okay.
And India, you have to, like, you know, you can't just do stuff like that. So I guess that is kind of stopping progress. Last question, guys, for you. We have about 3 minutes. I was going to ask you guys one last question, and that was, you know, will you consider traveling to China to be a part of this future? You know, maybe for business, maybe for, how possible is it, you know, I might visit China, I could visit China, I must visit China, right? Depending on being a part of this action, right? What do you guys think about your own futures in China? Ken, let's get started with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could visit to China because, you know, it's very close to here, and cost of going to China is not so. I can go there in a reasonable price.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, kind of, I think that China is one of the biggest tourist attractions, you know.
So you would go for tourism, not for business or anything like that?
Yeah, I think business with Chinese people is sometimes tough. I've heard of that. But you know, Chinese market is getting bigger and bigger, and many people want to get opportunity to start or open the business. Actually, a lot of people working in China now, or yeah, or kind of thing. So this is
Yeah,
happening. Yeah,
yeah.
because yeah.
No, that's awesome, right? So you could visit for sure. What about Juan? Would you like to go?
Oh yeah, I could be visit China, but as well as a tourist, no, and business, I think.
For both of those, right? I think it's an amazing country, what it offers, right? Um, every country has good and bad, right? But China, I think, is just an exciting place to be right now with all this stuff that's going on. Lorenzo, it's interesting for you because you're doing these startups, you're interested in doing your own business. Could you travel to China in the future?
Well, even though I want to make a business, I prefer to do it this side of the world, not in China.
Uh-huh.
In China, I would like to travel for vacation or for tourists, but not to do a business there.
Not for
I prefer
business.
to do it here.
Yeah, yeah.
It couldn't be possible.
Exactly. The business culture, it takes a different level of knowledge, right? Because, for example,
Yeah.
I think Western people, we have the idea of business being, there are certain norms, right? I guess there are certain rules and certain,
Yes.
just an understanding of business that's different from maybe the Chinese model, right? And I think, I think Japan is also the Western model, Ken, but China seems to be more, maybe they have their own model of doing things, which is difficult for maybe foreigners to understand. Uh, yeah, so Juan, I think Lorenzo is asking you, or Lorenzo, I think Juan is asking you a question. What about if there's a good business opportunity there? Would you still go?
I can think that is this an opportunity. Maybe I can go.
Maybe, uh-huh.
Yeah, maybe I can
Depends, right?
go
If they
there.
pay you a lot of money, maybe they pay you a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah. I changed my mind.
Money makes people change their minds all the
Yes.
time, right? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's great. Now, I think if they gave me a job, I would go to just to see, maybe if I don't like it, I'll come back or something, but at least to see what it's like. And then Raphael, last but not least, would you do the same thing?
I would like to visit China, and I think it could be in a couple of years later than now. I would like to go there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really fun to see where China goes in the future. Maybe by 2020, I'm giving us a generous 7 years, 6 years really. I think China will be I think America will be behind China by a lot. I think the biggest thing that we need to work on in the U.S. is education in the science and mathematical fields, right? China is just destroying us when it comes to science and mathematics, right?
Okay.
More engineers, they graduate more engineers than we graduate people.
Okay.
So they have more engineering students than we have students. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's very difficult to catch up with something like that, right? And they're people, I think they have a very dedicated mentality when it comes to studying and doing well, very competitive environment, which we don't enjoy that in the U.S. as much. Some places we do, but other places we don't. So, anyway, guys, fantastic class, guys. I really enjoyed the class. Did you guys have any questions about the modals of deduction or about the article? Maybe words that we didn't review or any of the concepts?
No.
It all makes sense?
You must be very careful on your trip and have good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's going to be a fun rest of the day today. Yeah, guys. So I have another class in 1 hour. If you guys want to join.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'll catch you guys later then.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay. Thank you,
guys.
Farhan.
Yeah.
Thank
you
Good to
very
see you
much.
guys. Yeah. Good to see
Bye.
you. Bye bye. Well, actually, it wasn't bad. I was very scared before I started the trip. I wasn't very scared. I was just I was
worried.
nervous. I was nervous a little bit that maybe at night the mountains are very difficult. But there's a lot of lights, a lot of other. They have services on the highway. Like if you need gas, if you need to eat something, So
Yeah.
it was actually very normal. Today, however, I plan to be in California by tonight. So
Actually, oh my
15, 16 hours from now, I plan to be in California. But today it's going to be the desert.
The
So
desert?
yeah, so I
Oh,
passed the mountains yesterday, and today's going to be the desert. So
oh my gosh.
we'll see.
How interesting.
Yeah. Every day
I
is
I'm
a different.
I am envy.
Yeah, I know. I took some amazing videos yesterday when I was driving. So I took videos
Ah,
of the land that I was passing when it was daylight, and it looks like, I don't know how to say this in any other language, but do you know, like in Argentina they have Las Pampas, right? Like those that flat
yeah,
area with, a lot of cows, a lot of farms, things like that. So in English we call those areas
yeah.
plains. We say plains. So
Plains,
plains, yeah.
plains.
So the spelling is different
La
from
Pampa.
the plane that flies, right? It's a little bit different spelling.
Yeah,
But so yesterday
plains.
I
Yeah.
was driving through. I started in the plains yesterday because Madison is really in the plain.
Pass with friends on the street. Well, it's pretty good.
That's
I enjoy a
awesome.
lot. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. They my town right now. I'm actually traveling, so I'm driving from my hometown, which is Wisconsin, Madison. The city of Madison is in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Wisconsin.
exactly. Yeah. So I'm driving
Madison.
from Madison. I'm actually driving from Madison to San Francisco.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a 2,000 mile journey, but I started 2 days ago, and I am almost there.
2,000 miles.
2,000 miles. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, very
So
interesting, no? But
it's amazing. Yeah.
it's amazing by the highway 13 or 30. This is
I
There are a famous highway
uh-huh.
from
There
but I
is
don't remember
13 is a good one. Yeah, there are tons of highways, right? So the one I took is actually Interstate 80. If you look at any pictures of this highway, Interstate 80, 80 starts in New York, goes all the way to San Francisco. So crosses the entire country right in the middle.
the Interstate 18, very famous.
Interstate
I
80,
think.
yeah. It is. It's one of the more famous ones. So I was driving on Interstate 80 for 13 hours last night.
13 hours.
Yesterday. I drove 13 hours yesterday, yeah.
Be careful. It's very dangerous.
It is. It is. Yesterday I was in the mountains at night, and it was normal. Driving that many hours alone sometimes gets a little. You get tired.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you and your wife are traveling together, then she can share the burden, right? You guys can both drive, and makes it a lot easier. So that's an initial recommendation right off the bat. Yeah. So it's pretty awesome. Thanks, Raphael, for having such interest in my trip. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah. We also have Lorenzo. How's it going, Lorenzo? Good to see you again.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
Hi, everybody.
Lorenzo, I forgot, if you don't mind me asking, did you say you were from Brazil?
No, I'm from Dominican Republic.
You're from the Dominican Republic. Okay, I'm forgetting all of these students that I see. The faces are similar to me, or things happen and I forget names. But yeah, welcome back. How's it going in the Dominican Republic?
Very hot, as always.
Wow.
The last time I attended your class was on midnight.
Uh-huh.
It was like a month ago.
A month ago, uh-huh.
Yes, you were teaching at midnight, the time zone of the America.
Uh-huh.
So now this is the first time at this time.
Yeah. I actually changed my schedule completely.
Okay.
I teach 2 classes in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, so it's a little bit, or
Okay.
2 in the evening, so it's a little bit.
Your name?
Yeah, that's my name. Perfect. Farhan, yeah.
Pretty well. With a sunny day here in Madrid. It's so early in your country, I think, no?
Yeah, it's 7 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my gosh, you are so a very good walker.
Yeah, it's just part of the job. I actually like the fact that Colingo classes are so early in the morning because it allows me to wake up and manage my day, because if I decided my classes would be, later in the day, I think I would be lazier, much lazier than I am now.
Mm.
Like I just wouldn't wake up. Now I'm forced to wake up and I'm forced to get ready, look somewhat like a human being, brush my teeth, comb my hair a little bit, stuff like that. So yeah, it's good. But besides the weather in besides the time in Madrid, how's the weather over there looking?
Mm. The time right now is
Noon?
three, 3 o'clock.
Oh, 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock
Wow.
p.m.
Wow.
And the weather is pretty good because in the last week we have been having autumn weather, but right now it's like spring. We have almost 20 degrees Celsius, sunny day, very
Wow.
comfortable. You can walk on the street. You can take a, a cup of coffee on at a
Almost, right? So the first part of my journey was plains, then the middle part is mountains. I'm in the mountains right now. I'm at a hotel in the mountains, right? And then the rest
Oh
of
my God.
today, the rest of today is going to be the desert. So there's three different groups of, geography. I go from the plains to the
Yeah,
mountains to the
very
desert.
interesting. You
Yeah,
are
yeah,
you could enjoy a lot with the landscape, very different landscape.
yeah.
I googling in Google Maps from Madison to where is your
San
final
Francisco.
destination?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Many times I have dreaming about to how to do this one of these interesting journeys. But
Uh-huh.
I've been there in New York for 2 times, or also in Cuba or in Peru. I travel a lot with my wife, and but always I've been dreaming about to do one journey across the United States. But I am a little afraid, a bit afraid.
Uh-huh.
But if you when you finish, if you give us some recommendation, I'll
Oh,
try.
absolutely. I would absolutely love to. It would be my pleasure, honestly.
Okay.
Uh, it's been a great experience. The only thing I wish was I had somebody with me. I was driving alone because
Ah,
my yeah, no one lives with me, so I live alone. I was going to see my friends. They all live in California, so
mm.